Hey everyone, it's Matt, and we're back with some Dark Magician content. I know y'all have missed it, and yeah, so that one Eldritch um, video I made is basically so until the Battle of Chaos stuff comes out, I'm pretty much only going to be playing Eldritch from now on. I'll explain why in a bit, but although when I go to YCS Vegas, I'll be playing Dark Magician with the Battle of Chaos cards, and as soon as the January ban list gets announced, I'm going to immediately like go into full training like Hyperbolic Time Chamber mode with regards to practicing for the YCS. So basically, as soon as that ban list drops, I'll know what cards will be legal for Vegas, and I'll immediately start hardcore training for that. Basically using one of my friend, the one that I visited in New York. He's going to be in Vegas YCS too. He and I will be training a lot, and then me and like another guy from the Dark Magician group, Michael, who's also going to be going to that tournament, will also be training a lot. So basically, yeah, the way that training is going to go is like we're going to just go create, build meta decks using the newest ban list and like that we expect to be good at the tournament, and just play each other over and over. Like take notes, make changes, make adjustments, like that kind of use spreadsheets. Very rigorous amounts of training. So yeah, so because of that, as soon as the January ban list drops, you will not ever see another Dark Magician list from me until from that doesn't have Battle of Chaos stuff um, until I finish my Battle of Chaos Dark Magician deck list that I'm going to use for YCS. That'll be the very next deck list you'll ever see from me. But until then, I'm going to drop this list now so that y'all have a bit more insight into how it's good to play Dark Magician right now. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I mentioned before that like at locals and stuff, I'm pretty much only going to be playing Eldritch. And the reason I'm going to be playing Eldritch is because of the following. So I made a list here called "These cards are everywhere," right? So yeah, these cards are showing up everywhere. Veiler, Imperm, Droplet, Chalice, Fusion Destiny slash DPE, right? So the problem with these cards, and the fact that they're everywhere, is that all these cards stop your Anaconda, right? So Lulz has commented on this in his videos, and it's also why he's now running Crossout Designator because he wants to be able to have his combos and Anaconda go through. So he's like playing defensively against cards like these, right? So if you have these in your deck with like Crossout Designator, you can like protect your Anaconda a little bit more. And in his view, and I also agree with this, the best way to play Dark Magician right now before Battle of Chaos is just hard playing Red Eyes Fusion. So yeah, that's like it's the path that's least likely to get negated. Ashes are way less common right now. I think Ash is like maybe the third most popular hand trap down from like first. And it's definitely like you don't see Ash very often, right? As much as you used to. Whereas these cards are literally everywhere. Like I've been playtesting Dark Magician decks previously. I've been playtesting my Subterror, and these cards are everywhere. Like it's so obnoxious, right? Um, so the reason that I'm playing Eldritch is because my Eldritch deck profile is built in a very trap oriented manner, and basically all these cards are completely useless against Eldritch. Veiler, Chalice, Imperm, Veiler, Imperm do nothing against like trap decks, right? Against a deck like Eldritch, Chalice and Forbidden Droplet basically become like Rush Recklessly, right? Remember this card, Rush Recklessly? Like that's basically what these cards become. Is like a worse version of Rush Recklessly. So I'm essentially like because I'm playing Eldritch, like half of my opponent's tech cards, or like maybe all of them, are just bricks now. Like, oh, you want to droplet my Eldritch, or you want to droplet Chalice? Like, they don't do anything, right? Like, all these are used for in the Eldritch matchup is like attack modifiers, and that's it. Like, you're not actually gonna make any high impact plays. So like, cool $100 card slash $300 place that you have there. It'd be a shame if those cards are completely useless, right? Um, so yeah, yeah. So that's part of the reason why I'm playing Eldritch. Like I want to be as anti-meta as possible. Current meta right now is awful. Like part of the reason that like all these effect negation around is because mostly because of Sword Soul. Tiny Sword Soul is the best deck, no questions about it. And the only way to deal with their monsters is like negating their effects. Like Ash doesn't really do anything. DD Crow doesn't do anything. They can play around Nibiru, although Nibiru is like an okay hand trap against them. Like drilling them does nothing. Like yeah, there's just the only real way to deal with Sword Soul is like Imperm Veiler and like try to negate their monster effects, right? Because if like they can't get their token out from Moye, like oh they're down a body and they might not even have long run if they can't search it off Chi Shao. Yeah, so yeah, that's the reason why the meta's evolved because yeah, but Eldritch says okay, all these cards are about as good as Rush Recklessly now, which is not a good card. Anyway, obviously DPE has the ability to pop, so against a trap heavy deck like Eldritch, he can pop your back row, but there's plenty of ways around that. Lord of Heavenly Prison prevents the pop. Just banishing it when it's in the graveyard prevents it. Like, yeah, so it's not a big deal. Yeah. So because of that, I'm gonna be doing a somewhat different thing with Dark Magician right now. And for starters, I'm gonna be taking out the Dogmatika engine. So why am I doing this? So the reason I want to take out the Dogmatika engine is the same reason that I took out the Dogmatica engine from my Eldritch deck because of the prevalence of all those other like those cards I just showed. Because of these freaking cards right here, you're just like never gonna resolve Ecclesia, and you might not even resolve Fleur de Lis either, right? Um, like that's what I've been seeing a lot of, right? And even Ash hits like Ecclesia, right? Ash hits Nadir, Ghost Bell hits the Nadir. Like I don't know, I've definitely noticed that like it's a lot harder to actually resolve Ecclesias on summon effect or even resolve Fleur de Lis. So like at this point, these two are just in the deck to be like I don't know like extra bodies for Anaconda. Yeah, so I'm just gonna remove them. So goodbye Nadir Servants, goodbye Punishments. Maybe in a future meta they can come back, but although once we get Battle of Chaos, I don't really think there'll be space anymore. Yeah, that means we can also take out Omega, Entis, and Titanic Lad. Alright, so what are we going to replace them with today? So what I'm going to replace them with, for starters, I'm going to put in Instant Fusion. Now, why do I want to put Instant Fusion? Because I want more cards that protect Anaconda. And so I have Eagle Booster. Eagle Booster protects Anaconda. But I also want to go into Mud Dragon in the Swamp. So Lawl's video talks about why Mud Dragon protects Anaconda, but I'll go over it. So it says your opponent cannot target this card or monsters on the field with the same attributes as this card with card effects. Once per turn, you can declare one attribute. This card becomes that attribute until the end of the turn. So if you summon this as part of your combo, like let's say you open like um, you have a way to into Anaconda and you also have an Instant Fusion. If you bring this out, um, you can switch this into a dark, and then that means that you Anaconda cannot be targeted by card effects such as Imperm, Veiler, Chalice. Obviously, Droplet can still, hit Anaconda. Obviously, Destroyer Phoenix can pop Anaconda because it doesn't target, right? But this is just like yet another way to mitigate, like, or to help you protect Anaconda, other than Eagle Booster. Eagle Booster is nice, but sometimes you want Instant Fusion. And the cool thing about Instant Fusion is it produces a body. So like, if you don't have like two other bodies, like this could be one of your two bodies to go to Anaconda. So the other fusion target, Instant Fusion target we're gonna run is Thousand Eyes Restrict. The reason we want to run Thousand Eyes Restrict is because going second, it's hilarious because let's say you Instant Fusion, they don't negate it. Now you have Thousand Eyes Restrict, you can threaten one of their monsters. So if you activate Thousand Eyes Restrict, you can take one of their monsters. Let's say they have a negate. If their negate does not destroy Thousand Eyes Restrict, then you won't be able to take their monster. But now you can also go into Relinquish Anima, right? So I'm also adding in the Relinquish Anima. So these are the three extra texts that are replacing the Dogmatika text. So Relinquish Anima can also be linked out of Magician's Souls, right? But yeah, one Instant Fusion, if they don't negate it, and you're going second, can take two monsters, right? Can take one monster with Thousand Eyes Restrict, and assuming they have a monster in the extra monster zone column, you can you can also use Relinquish Anima to take another one of their monsters. So if they don't negate you, not only could you take two of their monsters, but you can then use one of these two to go into Anaconda, right? So yeah, these are really good for going second. And if they do negate you, then this is just baited one negate, and if you go into Relinquish Anima, maybe you can like bait a second negate. So this is good. This is great tech. I like instant fusion into like these guys is always nice. So all right, so that's what I'm at. All right, what about these last four slots? So what are we gonna do here? All right, call me crazy, but here's the idea that I had. Remember how I said that Red Eyes Fusion is like your best opener now, just hard playing Red Eyes Fusion? Like Lalza would probably agree with me. A lot of the people in Dark Magician community would agree with me. So here's what I'm gonna put in. Triple Red Eyes Insight, baby. Let's go. All right. So call me crazy, and yeah, we're still a Dark Magician deck. Don't worry. But why don't we just play Red Eyes Insight and Red Eyes Wyvern? Like, why not, right? I mean, the only thing that can stop Red Eyes Insight other than an Omnigate is uh Ash. If they but let's say they Ash this, and you actually so one thing that I noticed while playtesting is oftentimes you might open Red Eyes Fusion and a Red Eyes Insight, right? Um, yeah, this is just more Ash bait. They Ash this. Oh, I'll just play Red Eyes Fusion, right? Or like, I don't know. This is just funny. But yeah, and Red Eyes Wyvern is a normal summon. So if you open Wyvern and Souls, you can go into Anaconda, right? So it's not a brick. It's a level 4. You can normal summon it. It has 1800 attack. 1800 attack is respectable. You can attack over a number of. You can attack over Moye. You can attack over a bunch of stuff, right? Yeah, it's a respectable attack value. Obviously, it's a wind, so if your goes in match is already active, like you can't go into darks, or like if you're locked in darks, you can't summon it, right? And I always felt this is weird. Like, why would they make a Red Eyes monster a wind when every other Red Eyes monster is a dark? Like, this made no sense to me. But I don't know. Someone at Konami must have been smoking something. But I guess because it's a Wyvern and not a dragon, I guess is no, it's still a dragon, like in type. It's not a worm, right? Yeah, that always be bizarre to me. Yeah. So yeah, this is my spicy tech. Replace Dogmatika with more ways to get into Dragoon, and arguably a better way to get into Dragoon. Now, this is super gimmicky, I know, and as soon as Battle Chaos hits, I'll be removing this package immediately because, um, yeah, it'll be unnecessary. But yeah, I think this is the best way to get to Dragoon. So I did some like simulation. Remember, you've seen my spreadsheets before, where I simulate my my like hands or whatever. I simulated 100 hands. So before I made this change, I was seeing Dragoon in my opening hand about 75% of the time. So 3 times out of 4, my opening hand had Dragoon, right? That's not even that's ignoring the opponent having like hand traps or whatever counters to you actually summoning Dragoon. Now I would say after testing 100 hands of this, um, I see Dragoon in 90% of my opening hands, so 9 out of 10 opening hands, I can immediately summon Dragoon, right? And I would even, and obviously that's not taking account like the opponent's Omni Negates or like um, whatever. But the thing is, because like hard playing Red Eye, like the only thing that stops a hard play Red Eye's Fusion is like either Ash, which will end your turn, that's the most devastating counter, or if they Barone, like you can still make other plays, right? Like let's say they use an Omni Negate, like Barone or whatever. Okay, hard play Red Fusion, you can either play a second one or you can just like go into other plays that make Anaconda or whatever. You can still play your turn, right? Um, so I feel like this package is more resilient, makes it you more resilient in making your Dragoon, right? Um, Also, Red Eyes Wyvern, in case y'all didn't, yeah. So Red Eyes Insight, you send Red Eyes Wyvern to the graveyard to search Red Eyes Fusion, and I don't know if, for those of you who don't know, Red Eyes Wyvern has the effect that says once per turn during your end phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target one Red Eyes monster in your graveyard, special summon that target. You cannot normal summon set the turn you activate this effect. So if Dragoon is in the graveyard because it was destroyed or whatever, you can revive him on your end phase with Red Eyes Wyvern. Obviously, it won't have the 2 pops, but it will have negates, so that's okay. Also, Red Eyes Insight sends um, Red Eyes Wyvern for cost, so even if they negate Red Eyes Insight, you now have a dragon in your graveyard, which means that you have it's slightly easier for you to use Magical Ice Fusion to bring out Dragoon. So you just need to get a DM in the graveyard, and then you have Dragoon, right? Like if you have Magical Ice. Obviously, like Souls, Magical Eyes already make Dragoon by themselves, but like this is just another, like let's say you can't link Dark Magician for whatever reason. I don't know, like you already have a dragon in the graveyard, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go with this. I've play tested this, a number of times online. I have not played it as extensively because I've been focusing on Eldritch recently. But yeah, one thing I noticed is that this is way more consistent for getting out your Dragoon. I was like, oh, why would you want to get out Dragoon? Well, because let's go back to that list. Let me save this. So save. Let's go back to that list I had. These cards are everywhere. The only thing that can stop Dragoon is Droplet. So if they don't have Droplet, they have any of these other cards do nothing to Dragoon. Completely useless. Dragoon versus DP, Dragoon will win every time. DP cannot out Dragoon. Dragoon can out DP very, very easily. Yeah, and also DP, like if you try to go the Anaconda route, DP will just pop your Anaconda before you can send Red Eyes Fusion. So why not just play Red Eyes Fusion and then just take care of, just bring out Dragoon and just like take care of DP yourself, right? Um, so yeah, Droplet is like the only counter of all these cards that we see here to Dragoon, and even Droplet can be dealt with. Like let's say you have I don't know, like a Solemn Judgment or whatever. Like you might be okay. But anyway, yeah. So that's my spicy tech, but we're not finished actually. There's a few more changes I want to make. All right. So first of all, I'm gonna take out DD Crow from my side deck. Now why am I gonna do that? I'm gonna do that because DD Crow was really only there to deal with DPE, but now that we're like more easily getting Dragoon out, Dragoon can deal with DPE, so we don't really need DD Crow. Okay, so what are we gonna do? So how are we gonna what are we gonna replace DD Crow with? Actually, we're gonna replace DD Crow with Solemn Judgment. I'm moving Solemn Judgment into the side deck, and what am I replacing in the main deck? A little something that I like to call Torrential Tribute. So Torrential Tribute is an amazing card. Good at going first or second. Obviously, slightly better for going first, but it's not a once per turn. It costs you 0 life points. Judgment costs you, half your life points. And it can clear an entire board, right? So the name of the game in this current meta is bodies on the board. So if you can clear bodies on the board, like, they summon, Moye's token, Chi Shao, search long ran, drop token before they link into Baron, Torrential Tribute, and you kill like 3 monsters on their field, right? And like their combo's dead, right? Or like it just clears the board, and that's what you want. You want to remove bodies from the board. So Torrential Tribute is amazing. I've been playing obviously a lot of Eldritch. Torrential Tribute is one of the best cards in that deck. I would never like replace it in that deck. Obviously, this is Dark Magician. Like, this is different, but like I think in game one, so this is a main deck option, right? In game one, most of the time, I think I prefer Torrential Tribute over Solemn Judgment. Now, why is that? So Solemn Judgment is good, and in fact, I would side deck in Solemn Judgment as soon as game two hits. Like as soon as game two, regardless of the matchup, Solemn Judgments are going in. Period. Right? All 3 of them. The reason being is because for side decking, you're more likely going to see them side in evenly matched, side in Lightning Storm, or maybe side in Droplets. Like some decks have Droplet in their side deck. Like cards that will actually try to board clear you or like even mess you up, Harpies or whatever. They're gonna side it in, so that's when you want Judgment. So if you can, for going first, let's say you're siding for going first, these are your going first cards. 3 Summon Limit, 3 Judgment, Terraforming Secret Village. Obviously, Terraforming Secret Village is like, it depends, right? Like, if they have spellcasters, like they have Alistair, obviously don't run this, right? But most of the time, like, yeah, here we have 15 cards. These 7 are your, wait, 7? I can't count. These 8 are for going first, and these 7 here are for going second. Dark World No More, Mind Control, evenly matched if we're going second. Now, obviously, you would see what their uh, their their deck is before you decide which cards you take out. Maybe Goes and Match is no good in the matchup. Maybe Ice Dragons does nothing, right? Like you figure out how you get these cards in your deck, like, and honestly, you can even take out like like Eagle Booster, if you want, like for going second. Um, there's an, or even just like Called by the Grave, right? Like I don't know. There's a number of ways that you can fit all these. Like these torrentials are nice, but they're not like absolutely necessary, right? Um, Yeah, so Torrential will remove bodies for free. Judgment can remove bodies, but like you pay half your life points. Like if you're not negating like a gigantic board clear board, like like evenly matched, you're negating the summon of a monster. Whoops. And that monster like might not be worth paying half your life points for. Uh, of course, like if it's like access code, it would definitely be worth. But like, you could also clear most monsters with torrential. Like, you can't torrential access code. That's true, but you can strike it. You can skill drain it, right? Um, and if like I guess for like game 2 and 3, if you have judgment, like that's you can deal with access code. But yeah, I really like Torrential Tribute, and the cool thing about Torrential Tribute is Dragoon is immune to destruction effects. So let's say you flip Torrential Tribute, it'll clear your board, including probably your Anaconda if you have it, which is actually like Anaconda's a liability for you. You definitely want to clear that. But yeah, your Dragoon will be protected. You can just blow up their board. Um, and like if you see they have the monsters necessary to go in that, yeah. So okay. So you can't chain access, torrential to the summon of access code because access code has an on summon effect, right? Which cannot be chained to. So but what you can do is, if you have Torrential face down, if you see that they have the monsters required to go into access code, and you know or suspect that they have access code, just Torrential the summon, like on the summon of that monster. Like let's say, oh, they have 3 bodies on the field, they summon their 4th body, or like they summon Celine, right? Celine revives a spellcaster, like Effect Veil or whatever. Then you Torrential Tribute to clear their board, so they can't go in access code. I mean, maybe they still can, but like you at least have one more way of like stopping that, right? So yeah, so that's what I'm trying right now, and I think that this is some pretty hilarious tech. Like Torrential Tribute is just great. It's so good. And if you have Solemn Strike, if you set Solemn Strike Torrential Tribute, you can clear like pretty much any board. Like you're against Drytron going second, set Torrential Tribute. Like assuming you didn't get you didn't draw Dark Ruler no more. Like set Torrential Tribute, set Solemn Strike. Do your do some stuff, pass, or just pass immediately, and then like Drytron will definitely want to summon because they can't OTK you with just Herald, because Herald is like 1800 attacker, some really weak amount. So they're gonna try to go into like Boral Sword or like maybe like the Draconids. So Torrential Tribute, and then when they try to negate with Herald, you Solemn Strike. Done. Board cleared, right? Um, so yeah, this is my tech. Obviously, the Red Eyes Insight is not a Dark Magician card. They're Red Eyes cards, but whatever. Like we replaced an engine Dogmatika that wasn't a Dark Magician engine either, with one that like is pretty funny. So yeah, let me see if there are any other changes I would suggest. Um, extra deck is good. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've had success with this playing online, and I have been playing on Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega. Lalza recently posted a bunch of videos where he's playing on that. Cause yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega is slightly more competitive than EDO Pro because they have a ranked ladder, and I like it more than Dueling Book because it's all automated. I don't like duels don't take forever. My biggest beef with like Dueling Book is that duels just take forever, right? I'd rather just like play on an automated system, especially since I'm playing on a computer. Like I'm not playing the cards physically. So yeah, I just want to be able to get through as many duels as possible in like a set amount of time. So yeah, so Yu-Gi-Oh! Mega pretty good for testing, and I've been doing some of that. Yeah, yeah. I hope you guys had success with this. Yeah, the next Dark Magician deck list that I'll be putting out will be the deck list where I basically, um, like have the final version of my Battle of Chaos Dark Magician deck ready to go for YCS. Like I'll have the physical cards, and because my Eldritch deck was a physical card deck that I made. Here is obviously I'm showing you on a like an interface. But yeah, the next one I make will have the physical cards, so that way I get to show off all my rarities and like get more giddy about and excited about the Dark Magician deck. All right. So I hope y'all enjoyed it, and let me know if this has success for you, because you'll be surprised how useful the Red Eyes Insight package is, and you'll definitely be seeing Dragoon like super often. Obviously, like Rod Souls is still the best way to get a Dragoon because you get like a +2 like from Soul Servant. Um, and in fact, like Red Eyes Insight doesn't even conflict with these, right? Like let's say you open all three of these. You use Red Eyes Insight to bait Ash. Let's say don't they Ash. Let's say they do Ash. You now have a Red Eyes Fusion in your hand. You can use Souls to send Red Eyes Fusion to draw cards, right? Or like these are spells, right? Magician Souls can send all these to the graveyard to draw more cards. So if you want to go the Rod Souls route rather than hard play Red Eyes Fusion, you like it's not a conflict. It's not a brick either. Like oh cool, it's either going to be a discard fodder for Souls to draw you more cards, or it's discard fodder for Dragoon. Either way, it's not a brick. Like people who still run one Red Eyes Fusion, like it's pretty mind blowing that people like that still exist. Like now you have to run as many as possible. And now, like we're basically running 6 copies of Red Eyes Fusion now. Like yeah, this is I'm to be honest, like part of me is doing this just to piss off those deck lists and profiles that want to run 1 copy of Rash Fusion. Like, bitch, I'll run 6 copies of this card. If I could, I would run uh like 20 copies of this card, right? Maybe that's exaggerating, but like the more copies of Red Eyes Fusion, more better. So yeah, that's what Red Eyes Insight is. All right. Um, okay. Thanks for watching. I'll definitely be making more content, Dark Magician related content, just not necessarily deck lists. Like maybe I'll make some combo videos or like some, like other like box openings or whatever. Uh, there will be more content coming. So don't think that just because I said I'm not gonna make a deck list until Battle of Chaos, like deck is ready to go for YCS. That doesn't mean I'm gonna be done making Dark Magicians. I'll definitely like make more Dark Magician related contents. Um, Maybe like a roast of like some deck roasts I have planned, including of Lalza's decks, and like some of his videos were pretty funny. Yeah, so stay tuned for that. All right, well, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.